And we are live. Oh my gosh, so excited for this. Welcome to Wine About It with Wine Diva Tiara. I am your host, Tiara, aka T, the Wine Diva. I am a wine consultant and a certified life and business coach, a Reiki master to be, and I love sharing how you can live your best life along with a glass of wine. So every Thursday, we bring you a live podcast broadcast on Facebook and YouTube to drink some wine and introduce you to some phenomenal experts in their respective fields and educate you on many ways of areas of life so you can, in fact, live your best life. So last week, we spoke with Virginia Shower about connecting our soul to your business. If you missed that one, next week, we're going to be talking to Jen Kohler about Reiki healing. And today, I have the amazing Porscha Newton, my friend, and she is like a woman orgasm coach and just like fire sex coach. And we're going to be talking about tapping into your sexuality, igniting your intimacy, finding your pleasure, and all of that good stuff. So this is going to be awesome. I'm super excited for this conversation. So please invite your friends, mention them in the comment box, all of that good stuff. Share this out. Sharing is caring. And yeah, so Porscha, will you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do?
Well, that was quite the introduction, and that was beautiful. Thank you. I don't think I could have sang it better. You don't want to hear me sing. It would be bad. Probably would lose some views here. But so I am a sacred sexologist, and what that means is I really study not only the psychology behind sex, but how to make it more sacred. So I have a lot of background in Tantra specifically. How to slow it down and make it more delicious and profound and create that soul connection. I'm also primarily working with women on how to troubleshoot their orgasms. So a lot of women, unfortunately, don't really have a lot of pleasure there. And so we troubleshoot it, we go through the things. So orgasmic expert is the thing, is the name. I love that name.
Yes. I love it.
I actually have a new one that I came up with during retreat. Pussy Priestess is a new one.
Ooh, come through. I love that. Who loves that? I think that's amazing. Kat says that she loved your name, Porscha.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So you did. All right. I'm gonna go off the cuff. I'm not gonna lie. I sent Porscha like questions that I was gonna ask so she could prepare, and now I'm already like, nope. Actually, tell me about this retreat. I want to know about this retreat because I saw that you had like a women's retreat, right? And then I just saw a post about there's going to be a couples retreat coming. Like, hallelujah. Let's talk about these things.
Oh man. So the retreats I've always done have always been like women focused and healing and realigning the womb space. As you asked me those questions that you sent me, we're going to talk a little bit about how important it is to heal that energy. But what I find is that when women are healing or they're collectively going through the things, is that it kind of creates like this disconnect in the relationship because the man tends to not like really know what's going on or doesn't really fully understand. And so creating that container before you step into that sexual space is so important. So important. Because if you don't have communication, if you're not speaking up for yourself on either party, or you're not really getting to like the connected part of sex, then you're not really having sex.
Right.
Which is sometimes fun, right? Quickies are great, just getting, hitting your head on the headboard, that's great too. But sex can be so beautiful, delicious, and so enlightening. And so that's what we're going to be teaching during this retreat. And that's going to be the man and the woman and how connected we need to be with each other to create this container, to have these sexual experiences, to talk about the kinky stuff, to talk about triggers, to talk about all the things that really, all encompass the sexual zones. But yeah, I'm really excited about this couples one, as you can tell.
Oh, this is gonna be fire! Oh my gosh, I'm excited for it.
I'm so ready. Oh God,
I am so excited. All right, so we know that we can't have a wine about it without some wine. So this week's wine is going to be the Joy Simeon. It is like very similar to like a Sauvignon Blanc. If you're a fan of Sauvignon Blanc, this actually came in the October Wine Club. So if you like a crisp, yeah, Portia's in the Wine Club. She knows all about it.
Waiting on my gift box.
It'll be here soon, like a
Mhm.
couple of days, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you like Sauvignon Blanc, if you like crisp, clean, white, drier white wines, this is going to be a great white wine for you. And then I love the label because it's just like, it says joy, it's got red and blue, and it's just like perfect for like the holidays. So
Yeah.
I love
Good
that
one.
brand. Such a good holiday brand. So if you want to check out the wine club, our wine club includes 4 wines a month. You get pairing recipes and, of course, all access pass to our virtual wine event. So you can join with, let me throw up the banner. So winedivatiera.com, you can just shop there and find all of the good things. Or, I can drop my link tree in the comments as well. And yeah, so that's the good stuff. So now, Porscha, what seems to be the biggest struggle when it comes to like owning your own sexuality and like what you need and your needs are?
Beautiful question. I love that you opened up with that one. I was like, ooh, I love talking about this. So,
Yeah.
sexuality, let's touch around that a little bit because for
Mhm.
centuries, especially women, right? It literally has been like this taboo subject, right? We do
Right.
all the things, we go through school thinking that purity is the thing and like wait till you're married. And then, like, once you're married, you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be a freak, but I don't even really know how to do that.
Right. Of course.
I don't even know what my body is because nobody's explained to me like all the things.
Mhm.
Like even at 34, like when I was reading all my certifications and going through all the things, I was like, wow, the yoni does all of these things. Like nobody says anything about this.
Right. Right.
So we're eliminating that in sexuality. Like a lot of women have a lot of shame and guilt and
Mhm.
trauma around different aspects of sex. And so they shut down their connection to sexuality, which makes it really hard. If you're not connected to yourself, how do you expect to really enjoy sex? It's not
Right.
going to be very enjoyable. When it comes to needs, right? A lot of people don't know what they like. It's not like people just go off self-pleasuring all day to kind of figure out what they like. Like it's actually kind of like a big no-no, especially on the male counterpart. It's like, oh, you're a weirdo if you do that. Like, or if you're in a
Mhm.
relationship, you shouldn't have to do that. Like all these different belief systems that come into play when it comes to needs.
Right.
And so women shut that part of them down and they go years and years and years without saying or speaking up for themselves at all when it comes to pleasure. Like at all. They're just
At
like,
all.
it's a chore. Let me go do the laundry, have sex, and then go back to doing what I was supposed to
Right. It
do.
does. It becomes this like, all right, well, I need to like make sure that I like keep my
Yeah.
man or, my significant other.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
like you said, it becomes a chore. And when it becomes a burden, it is no longer fun. It's just like, all right, let me lay down real quick, let this happen and like go about my day.
Yeah, you check out, right? You start thinking
Yeah,
about what's before
like
after.
what's my to-do list? Let's have this to-do list going on in the background and like, are you done yet? No? Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. Or you're like fake moaning or saying all the things just so you can hurry up, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go shower. Thanks, I gotta go. And it should
Right.
not be like that. It should not be like that at all. And again, when it comes to needs too, I think because men grow up without this space as well, not to talk about the things. A man's not gonna go to another man and say, I don't really know what I'm doing. Most men just grow up with the assumption that the man knows what he's doing. So, and then the women
Right.
don't say anything. So he thinks he's doing a great job and he doesn't really know that his whole life nobody's enjoyed having sex with him. So, it's on both sides, because men don't really have the safe container to talk to another men about like,
Mhm.
how do you do the things? And so there's these two people who just don't know how to speak up for themselves or are ashamed to talk about those things or don't know how to talk to their partner out of fear of hurting their feelings. And it just continues to be needs that get shoved down. And yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so much to unpack because like you
Yeah.
said at the beginning, I remember in high school, so when we graduated, all the women were made to wear white dresses. And I had a teacher who was like, I don't understand that. Why does it look like we're like sending off a pack of virgins into like adulthood? And she was like very frank about it. And I was like, huh. And she was like, I know for a fact half of y'all ain't. And I was like, oh,
Like, what's going on here?
But
I
it's
can
just
just
like,
see that in my mind. It's a whole class of white
just
dresses.
like white dresses just going out into the world. But it does become taboo. It's not everyone really talks to their mom about it, aside from maybe like, all right, don't give up the milk for free or all
Right.
of that kind of stuff.
Or wash
And
it.
What?
Yeah, most moms are like, just wash it, and that's like all you hear, you know?
Yes,
That's like
yes.
all
And
you
there's
hear.
so many things that we're not like comfortable to talk about, and I think it's really important that we kind of shift that mentality to make it more okay to speak, not just for women but for men as well, to be able to have that container, have that opportunity to share experiences and live and grow, so we can, have our desires met, our needs met, and have more fun, of course.
Yeah, because pleasure is the goal, right? And
Hmm.
it's not very
Hmm.
pleasurable when like you're just laying there thinking about the laundry or like listening for the kids for an
Right.
excuse to go grab your toddler. You know what I mean? Like it's just much better when you can just be in present and just be a
Hmm.
reciprocative of energy of pleasure. That's like what it's designed for.
Right. So, how would you recommend going about like finding out like what are understanding our own personal needs?
Mm. This is gonna be my number one thing ever is self pleasure.
Mm,
Okay, how you have to be comfortable with looking and touching and feeling into your body, because if you're feeling uncomfortable with yourself, again, you're transferring that energy to your partner. If you don't feel
right.
sexy in your body, you're giving that energy, you're showing up with that energy. And a woman who's really confident in her body is going to speak up for herself, especially when her body and her have this beautiful love connection. You're not going to let her
Mhm.
just get treated how, you're going to speak up and say, hey, you know what, I really 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 love that we do this, can we play with this other side, or finding the ways to communicate to your partner to get your needs met, but you're just going to create with that relationship with yourself first. Okay, and don't just think like you have to go in the closet with like a vibrator, like that's not what I'm saying here. I mean, you can. I love the closet too. It's like one of my favorite sacred spaces, but really create that time for yourself. And if you can't seem to get past like some of your shame around
Mhm.
self pleasure, like start with just some self love, right? Taking yourself on a date, taking those long extra baths or showers to just really pour that love back into self. Get intimate with self so you can even
Mhm.
communicate that to your partner. Because if you don't know how to drive the vehicle, how do you expect to tell somebody else how to get to the destination? So,
Yes.
you got to be
Yes.
able to
I love that
say, like,
analogy.
you know what I mean? You got to be able to say what kind of gas you need and all the good
Mhm.
stuff. So it's really, really important that you start with self for sure.
I love
Hmm.
that. So, kind of going off of this conversation of like taking time for self, how I know there are so many people out there, they're like, I'm a mom, I'm like super busy. I don't have a time for a shower, let alone a luxurious bath. Like, how do we like one make that time and find that space for it? But also like if we're feeling a little kind of anxious about it, and we're like, oh no, like how do we like talk to our significant other like, I'm going to self pleasure myself, don't ignore, don't don't come into this room right now, like I'm taking time for me, like should we do that, should we try to lock the door and hide ourselves away, like how do you recommend going about it?
So that's a really good question. I love that one too. So when it comes to taking time, right?
Mhm.
I'm a mom, I homeschool my kids, I run a business from home, and I'm also a partner, right?
Right.
So it's really important that you make it priority, because if you are not taking time for yourself, your business, your partnership, your how you deal with your kids is going to be really stressful, right?
Mhm.
Life is supposed to be flow and ease. It's not supposed to be rushed or overdone, or you're over burnt out, can't figure out why people aren't drawn to your packages or whatever it is that you're doing in business. It's because you're not embodying the energy that needs to be embodied so that you can portray that in your content, in your business, in your personal life. Like all that's really important, right? It shouldn't just be go, go, go all the time. So even if you're
Right.
doing it once or twice a week, right, where you take yourself to go get a nice salad in silence, whatever it looks like for you, do more of that, and you'll start to see how much of you opens up energetically, and you won't be so tense all the time. Because if you're having sex and you're super tense, you're probably not enjoying that either.
Right. Right.
Right.
So true.
And then explaining to your partner, right, about self pleasure, especially men, because men like sometimes can be a little like intimidated about like, why do you need to do that? Because again, that
Mhm.
stigma, that shame, that guilt that comes in. Is she not really enjoying that time? I always like to say, first figure out a good communicative language for you and your partner to understand, and encourage each other to self pleasure. I encourage my man all the time, like, hey, have you loved yourself? You seem a little tense from that meeting. Seem a little tense. Why don't you record it and then send it to me later? Because I'm all about the recordings, but that's a different show. But you know what I mean? Instead of looking at porn, you create your own porn. It's nice. So at the end of the day, you really have to just tell them, like, I'm doing this as a self-exploratory thing. That way, if they look at it more like it's self-explorative, they don't see it as a threat, right? I'm trying to learn myself better so I can show up in a better space for you. I mean, hey, you can watch me. That might really help me, you know, help you see what I'm seeing. But I really want to be in this space of really connecting to myself so that I can make sex much better, you know, that much better. And so they'll usually understand with that, unless you pull out like a arm length size dildo, then that's a whole different scenario. Some men do not do, they're like, oh God, what's going on there? But really just like, hey, I just really need to connect to myself. I got these things going on. I'd really like to just go massage myself for a little bit, and then maybe, you know, we'll have some time together to do the things.
I love that. So you have an amazing community. And I mean, if anyone is like a great like inspiration on how to build a community, like on social media, like on Facebook, Porscha is it. So she has this community called the Fire Tribe. And so I see so many women talk about the benefits of a yoni egg. So what is it? How do you use it? And where can we get them?
Oh, the yoni egg. One of my favorite things. I really do love the egg. So we're talking a little bit about the physical properties, right? Women over time, as we age, as we have babies, as we have sex, as we do the things, it starts to weaken our pelvic floor. And it's really important that it's nice and toned, not only for your orgasms, but your overall health. Right? Pelvic floor is one of the things you just don't want to bypass. Okay. And most women do not do Kegels, and some women are not even candidates for Kegels, right? Not every woman is supposed to be doing. Yeah. Some women have hypertension or they have pelvic floor dysfunction, so they shouldn't be doing certain type of Kegels, right? Some people are doing Kegels very wrong too. There's a wrong way to do them too. So, you know, if you, oh yeah, absolutely. So literally, like, think about today, even like how many women on this broadcast have actively done their Kegels. You know what I mean? So pelvic floor health is something that we kind of bypass, especially after childbirth. Like, just read what happens to the body on childbirth and you'll be like, oh, wow, I need to really exercise that. And not in the sense of it gets loose. It's just really, really that muscle gets strained. And so we want to be able to tone it up so that it's nice, and not the word tight. I don't even like the word tight because you don't want to be overly tight. You just want to be nice and toned so that you can have a healthy functioning pelvic floor. Like, you don't, it's like a muscle, right? It is a muscle. So you literally don't want to be super tight and just like buff in the yoni. You want to be nice and toned. You don't want to buff yoni.
I can see memes coming from that.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, oh gosh, it's hilarious. So that's funny, buff yoni. But spiritually, each egg has a crystal benefit, right? Just like crystals that you meditate with or anything else, each egg has a crystal benefit. So the ones that I love the most are the rose quartz and the obsidian, because if you are clearing your womb, which every woman should be clearing that stagnant energy, every time that you were in an emotional situation, every time trauma has happened, anytime that you have guilt or any of those things that are associated with your emotions, again, the sacral chakra is being held in your womb. Women literally pull all the energy and emotions in their womb, and then they don't do anything about it to clear it, and then they can't figure out why things are coming out in other places. Womb clearing is so very important, especially when you get into the energetics of sex. So rose quartz brings in the love. It helps you heal. It's the self-love and awareness stone. And then we have obsidian that kind of goes in there and absorbs all of the negative energy that's in the womb. And it's just a beautiful experience to really just add to your self-care routine. I really love the egg. Where you can get them from me at thefiresociety.net. One thing I will say is I only carry GIA eggs, which are certified eggs that have no cracks, no dents. I'm very like a yoni snob when it comes to the yoni. Also, I teach the practice, because you can go anywhere and buy a yoni egg, right? Not hard to find. They're very easy. Do not ever buy them from the crystal shop. Promise me. Don't ever, because they don't tell you how to use them. Right.
Fair enough.
So the practice is so important, right? It's like going to the gym your first time, and then going to the weight rack and like starting to lift 100 pounds, and like there's nobody to like guide you, and you can potentially hurt yourself, right?
Right,
So it's
right.
really, really important. The practice is key, from resistance practices to energetically cleansing practices to standing up, sitting down. Like, it has to be tailored to a specific yoni. And so you definitely want to get a practice, some sort of practice or some sort of guide through that process, which I do. I have all the yoni meditations, all the things, all the eggs. And I always check in on your yoni. That's one thing I will say. It's like, hey, how's your yoni? How you doing with this? Because it's an emotional experience, right? And if we don't address the emotion, again, not only are you giving that to your partner, but you're starting to manifest things in the womb, like BV, yeast infection. Those are all very, very emotional symptoms of unprocessed emotions. So,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
These
yeah.
infections
So
are
can
very,
you say your website again one more time?
It's thefiresociety.net.
.net. Love it. I'm dropping that in the
Yeah.
chat. And so totally wasn't going to talk about this, but you said manifesting, and so it made me think, there is such a thing. Like, I have a friend that calls it sex magic. So can you talk a little bit about like how manifesting with yes, let's talk about it.
Manifesting through the yoni. Oh man, I'm gonna break this down. This is one of my favorite topics. So your cervix. So yoni mapping, I highly advise every woman to go and look and see what yoni mapping is, right? I'm actively getting certified in yoni mapping. I told myself I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it. It's leading. Spirit is calling me there. But your cervix is a portal, right? Think about it. You take something from the spiritual realm and bring it into, fruition with children, right? Like, it's literally this little thing that you grow and it becomes a whole person with a whole lifespan of 100 years. Like, so your portal is literally your cervix, right? And through that cervix, when you're activating it through orgasm, you can actually set intention there and really birth what you would like to manifest in life. And so using your sexual energy, especially as a partner, right? And especially as a collective, as a partner, you can totally just start to manifest things from that space, right? Just like men have the seed, you have the cervix, it creates a portal. Sex can create this beautiful portal that helps you get that energy and then send it upward towards the universe and get what you want out of this beautiful life through the alchemy of orgasm. Because orgasm has its own frequency.
I love that. I love it.
It does. It has its own frequency. So the quickest way to actually manifest, which a lot of people do not talk about in manifestation because it's uncomfortable, is sex.
Yes. All right, friends. If you're ready to manifest, go have your sex.
Monks, like literally monks in temples, old day tantric traditions, and the Taoist traditions, you will see that a lot of them, even sacred temples, were all centered around sexual energy because it was the fastest way to reach enlightenment. So yes, it's healing. It's all the things. If you use sexual energy for the right things, it can be very, very healing and very, very profound, and of course, delicious and beautiful.
Oh, so powerful. I love that.
Oh,
All right. So going back to owning our own desires, there's like a stereotype of like the bored housewives and that like read erotic like novels and all of that, or like watching porn, whatever, to escape their own relationships. What are your thoughts on this? And is there a way to bring like maybe inspiration from the page into the bedroom?
Ooh, I loved this question. I read it. I said, ooh, I like this. This is a good one. I just had a course called, or class called Kinky Queen, and it talks about this. So basically what happens is because relationships become comfortable and we stop exploring, we stop trying. That's just what happens in unconscious relationships, right?
Right.
People just go about life. The kids happen, work happens. It just becomes this like comfortable space of just like, oh, hey, how are you? I'm going to lay down. Okay, great. Like we were talking about earlier. So what happens is a lot of women go to these books, or they go to pole class, or even bar where they works the pelvic floor. Like, I've had girls who had orgasms in bar class.
Okay. Okay, bar. I just have my size. That did not have my.
Yeah, but when you're not getting that intimacy at home, right, and you're not really addressing the foundations of the emotional stance of the relationship, it really does start to come up in other areas. Your sexuality is not going to go away Most women are like, oh, I don't need it. I'm like, oh, just wait. It's going to pop right back up. And
Pop
it's going
up.
to pop up in the most weirdest ways because it's part of our essence as human beings. It's our
Mm.
primal instinct is to do the things, and not only for baby making. Okay. So what I find is that a lot of women who are, again, who don't speak up on their needs, they tend to go
Right.
to these books or to feel liberated in other ways. Like pole class is always packed and sold out, right? Because they just want liberation. They want their bodies to feel free. They want to feel that connection. They
Mhm.
desire that connection. So first things first, if you're going to bring a page to a bedroom or a porn to a bedroom, start with the connection aspect, right? Start to think of like, what do you really want in the bedroom? And what does that feel like, taste like, smell like, sound like, feel like, all of those things, right? All of your five senses, all of it. Just dig right deep into it. And then bring that into presence. And then start talking to your partner again. First, addressing the triggers, right? Because everybody has sexual triggers. Like, for instance, I hate getting smacked on the butt. If it's not, like, I'm not a big fan. But some women love it, right? And some
Right.
men don't know that I don't like, so I'm saying, like, my partner used to do it all the time. I'd be like, okay, finally, like, listen, I hate that. Ruins everything,
Not my
makes me
thing.
concentrate on my butt and not where I need to be concentrated on. So you have to be able to talk about the triggers. Because if you can talk about the triggers in a space of like, I'm listening and not I'm judging, it becomes
Right.
really delicious. Sex becomes so beautiful because you're more aware, right? So address those triggers and then get into like, let's explore together without feeling inferior or not enough or any of those things to each other, right? So if we go to a sex shop and there's a toy that you necessarily don't agree with, that's okay. We both can work through that, but it's being able to say, hey, I'm not really comfortable with that. Let's try this instead, right? Because
Right.
nothing's wrong with like trying with some things. I think a lot of us just get in the habit of just like doing the things, and to try a little bit extra can be a little more work. So we kind of like step over that, and when we can't figure
Mhm.
out why, like, we're arguing about like who didn't put the coaster down, you know what I mean? So so really getting to the root of that and then allowing yourself to explore, right?
Mhm.
Explore. A lot of women too, I feel like when it comes to porn, we have our own things. And yes, porn can be very toxic if it's not held in the right container, right? Sometimes just like those books, right? It's kind of the
Right.
same thing. It can get overwhelming, especially if you're disconnected and not having any sex at all. And then you're going to the books or you're going to porn. But watching it together, reading together, coming up with scenarios together, role playing, all of those things can be so beautiful if you just
Mhm.
put it out there in the right container. You got to create that container. It's really, really important.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Oh, I've been wanting to know what is a good erotic read, if you have any recommendations.
Ooh, erotic reads. I will have to give you the names. I actually have my hairdresser. She actually writes erotica. And I know
Ooh.
she's like this, like really like old school Mormon girl who writes this beautiful erotic stuff. And like, I'm like, oh my God, she's doing my hair. I'm like, oh girl,
Girl,
whoa.
yes.
This is interesting, and she writes some good ones. Two, I would like to also add, if you love erotica, what I have come to find is that tantric moaning music during sex is really empowering.
Ooh.
There's something about it that's very primal, and they have a lot of different playlists, even on like Spotify, of like moaning music. It's
Mm.
beautiful, it's energetic, it's like very graceful, has drums, has bass, and there's just something about it that is so amazing. So if you really like erotica and you want to get into something a little erotic, but you don't want to go too kinky, like whips
Mhm.
and chains and stuff, add a little bit of that and
I love that.
oh, it's so good.
I've never even heard of that. Oh my gosh.
It's so,
So
so good.
can can you like expand upon the word tantric and what does that mean?
Ooh. Tantra. So tantra is all about the energy of sex and slowing things down and connecting through your sacral energies to connect to your partner, and again create that alchemy of sex,
Mm.
and sexual energy. So a lot of times when people really, let's say for instance you have sex and you orgasm but it doesn't really feel like an orgasm, you're just kind of like,
Mhm.
did I or did I not? It's because there's probably something there that's either causing a blockage or something that needs to be healed. And so using Tantra and using the sexual energies, it also can help heal those blockages, but it also creates this beautiful connection to self. And you can do Tantra by yourself. You necessarily don't need a partner, but you can also do it with your partner. And it creates this beautiful connected sex for healing and other purposes like sex magic. Yeah, Tantra is just, it's all about the energy. It's all about taking it slow. It's all about the
Ooh.
five senses. It's all about drinking your partner in and just being in awe of their body and then being in awe of your body. And it's just so healing, especially for women who mostly women have, we have the body issues, right? We're
Right,
always
right.
constantly comparing. We're always constantly doing the thing. And so if you have a man who's really worshiping your body, like, yoni worship is so good too, because like a lot of us have weird things around our vagina and what it looks like, right? They're like, oh god,
Right.
my vagina's ugly, and I'm like, who told you? Who gave us this concept of thought, right? So when you have somebody there that's just looking at your vagina like a sunset, like, oh, it's just beautiful. It's just
That feels
beautiful.
good.
It's Tantra is just sacred sex. It's just, for a short word, for a short sentence, I mean, literally it's just sacred sex. It's bringing that sacred art back to sexuality and using it and understanding our sexual energy.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I
Yes.
like that you said like slow. And I think that's like my word for the year. And for those who like don't know that like Samhain is Halloween and that's like the witch's New Year. So, I kind of celebrated New Year's myself on Halloween. And I was like, my word for the year is going to be slow, like slow the F down and like really tap in. And even like with like just being like a week out, it feels like I can already feel things shifting. So like
Oh yeah.
across everything in life, like slowing down is so good. Taking time, making like feeling the yumminess and the deliciousness
Yeah.
of life and your connection with your partner, all of that goodness.
Yeah. Presence,
Yes.
right? Just being present, not
Mhm.
thinking about past or future, just literally bringing presence. Yes.
Being in the now. Being in
Yes.
the now, having gratitude for the now, all sorts of things that we're working on.
Yes. Oh yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
Love
Mhm.
all those wonderful questions.
So, are there any tools you find are like a must in the bedroom to set the mood? Like we were talking, like I did a post in my virtual wine tasting group, and we were like, I was like, what is like a drink that you find to be like romantic? And everybody was like, bubbles, champagne. Like I had a couple of people that were like red wine or whatever, and I think like picturesque wise, red wine is very beautiful. But I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? Bubbly does just like put me in a mood. It makes me feel like frisky and fun and like happy.
Yeah, it's light, it's very
It's
light and
it's
beautiful.
light, like the alcohol, like the bubbles. Actually, fun fact for anyone that wanted to know, the bubbles carry alcohol to your brain faster, so you get a lot drunker off of like some bubbly than you do off of like a still wine or any alcohol actually. So like if you have like a vodka soda, same
Yeah.
idea. It carries the alcohol to your brain faster. So fun tips.
I didn't actually know that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Bubbly. All right.
yeah.
I'm all about the spaces, right? So when
Mhm.
it comes to sex, especially like creating this space for sacred sex, you want something that is like a temple, right? Because it's like worship, right? It is like really
Right.
getting into the energies of worship. So allowing yourself to create this space, like flowers and candles, every candle, you can choose different like candle colors. Even candle colors have significance. I usually go with red for power and passion, or white for purity and cleansing, because you're opening up portals, right? So you want to just
Mhm.
you want to open it up and pour love in, right? So just really creating a space. But the bedroom is like, again, like it's like your temple. So you want to be able to put like flowers down. I mean, who doesn't feel more erotic when you see like red flowers and
Mm.
candles and like it's much better than like sliding the kids' bed stuff off the bed and just getting
Get the
to
toys off and like let's get to
it.
it.
All right, or like being in the garage, that's we're not 16 anymore.
Oh man, like contorting herself in the back seat of. Anyways.
Right, I'm like, oh. But so really creating the space that really resonates with you, and don't just jump into the penetration. Like slow, like you said, slow it down. Do a nice massage for each other. Like something erotic about rubbing each other's feet and staring into each other's eyes and like really
Mm.
taking that time to just open up that intimacy. And then when it comes to, I forget what your second question was. You asked me about, there's something in there you asked me about too.
I know I asked like so many. I always
It's
double
okay.
up on the question.
Yes.
So it was like tools you find that
Yeah.
are a must. I think that was basically it.
Yeah, and then smells too. Like I want to talk a little
Mhm.
bit about smells, because there's a
Ooh.
difference. Yes, because our senses, like use when you're creating your space, use all five senses, right? Everything. So if you like to make love on fur, like if you like to make love on, well, obviously conscious fur. If you want to make, if you want to make love on something really satiny and silky, and do more of those things. When it comes to scent, you want to use stuff that's really grounding, like patchouli, sandalwood, cinnamon. Even is known to be a libido enhancer and aphrodisiac.
Really?
Yeah, it also is a money drawer. So as you're doing your sex magic, you're killing two birds with one
Hey,
stone.
get that cinnamon oil, friends.
Yes, the cinnamon is like it's all about the cinnamon. It's an attraction oil, right? Rose is the scent of love. It has the highest frequency of love as well when it comes to smell. So you just really figure out like what your association, and if you find a scent that you love, like vanilla, like the scent of love is vanilla too. If you love that scent, just keep burning those kind of candles to kind of get your subconscious to rewire itself to think like, oh yeah, now it's sexy time. It's time to shut down the back part of the brain and be present, right? Same thing
Mm.
with like, just again, don't be afraid to moan. Something just told me to bring that up. Somebody on here needs to hear this. It's okay to moan. Sound is so important. Sounding is a huge tool, okay? Our throat, our vagus nerve is connected to our cervix. When we moan, it vibrates that cervix and creates more pleasure, right? So it's real.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So when you don't say anything and you're dead silent, you're doing yourself a disservice. And a lot of women who aren't open in the throat area and don't say what they want have a hard time asking for things outside of the bedroom, what they want out of life. And so it's really important that you're using that energy to open up your throat chakra.
Mhm.
But there's so many good tools. So you got candles, you got scents, you got like oils and good lube. Okay, no
I was
astral
gonna say
glide.
we need to talk about lubrication real quick because it's
No
a
astral
must.
glide. Okay, use some good lube. Okay, your yoni is important. You only get one.
Yes,
Do
yes.
not
We
go to
don't want any
Target and get another one.
tearing. No. Oh man. I cannot
You
do
only
that.
get one, so treat her well. Okay, organic
Mhm.
lube is really important. Again, creating that. I love roses. I love roses are the significance of the goddess, but you can use other stuff like carnations. Carnations have a high frequency of love as well. Also, acceptance and confidence come from carnations. The silkies, like satin bed sheets, are everywhere. So, go and get you some nice satin sheets. It's not that expensive to go get some satin sheets. And what it does for you is great. And it's also going to get some juices and absorb that for you so that you can just like throw it in the laundry. Laundry efficient. It's laundry efficient. I'm trying to think if there's anything else too. Um, yeah, just create the vibe, create your portal,
Mhm.
create your temple.
I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
love
I love it. I
it
love it. I love it. So I know we talked a lot about like couple stuff. So can
too.
we talk a little bit about like for those of us who might be like single or not having a partner, that kind of thing, and how we can tap in more?
Yes, 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 yes. So I say, like self pleasure, do not be embarrassed, girl. Get whatever you need, whether that's a crystal toy, whether that's a vibrator. Get whatever you need. But I want you to be graceful with yourself and still create that space. Okay, I have a beautiful masturbation space. I refuse not to. I want to see beauty. I want to feel like the goddess that I am. The bathtub too. Like, oh, the bathtub, your shower head, make it special. You can add candles. You can
Mm.
add all types of things onto that. So really just allow yourself to be in that space and really taking time with yourself, acknowledging, right? If there's anything that comes up for you as you are self-pleasuring, it's going to be really key if you need some healing there. So if you feel like you feel like you have like embarrassment around it, or you feel like there's some stuff that it's a kind of unresolved emotion in there, I want you to really work with these energies to really heal some of those wounds. Because again, your womb space and all of that, it can be attracting your potential partner or not attracting your potential partner. Okay, that
Ooh.
energy is very powerful. Men are attracted to the energy of the womb, right? So at the end of the day, if you're not cleansing some of that stuff out, or you're feeling insecure, or you're feeling not confident, or you're feeling like you keep getting the same kind of men keep coming around in different forms,
Mhm.
it's time to start working on yourself energetically in that womb. And again, self-pleasure is something I will always go back to. Whether even if you're just using your hands to feel, or doing mirror work with your vagina as you look into your own eyes and look at your yoni, look into your own eyes, what they call yoni gazing. It is very,
Mhm.
very powerful and energetically healing. And you're just going to walk around with a glow and a confidence in every area of life.
I
Yeah.
love that. So can you speak a little bit about like breathing? Because we were talking, I remember you said something about meditation and it kind of connect. I was like, oh wait, we need to talk about like there's so much work and like so much goodness that comes from breathing. Like as a singer, as an actor, like my diaphragm does so much work. And I have been learning and in my slowing down of everything that I do in life, like taking a breath can mean so much. And it means a lot in the bedroom too, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. There's orgasmic meditation, and there's
Oh.
also orgasmic breathing, right? Which is very beautiful, especially if you can reciprocate the breath with your partner. As you breathe in, they breathe out. As you breathe out, they breathe in. It's very, very beautiful. So I would definitely try that with your partner as you guys are connected. Just allow yourself to reciprocate breath. It's basically like just drinking in each other and giving each other energy.
Mm.
It's very beautiful. But yes, you got to breathe. That's really important, especially because we hold a lot of tension in the jaw. As you're
Mhm.
breathing, that's by moaning and like opening up your body, opening up your mouth. You're allowing yourself to receive that energy, but you're also giving yourself a chance to relax. Okay. If your
Mhm.
jaw is really tight, sex is going to be really tight. It's all connected, right? So when you're really clenching, or when you're not really paying attention to how you're doing the things, and you feel like maybe you can't really relax into sex, open your jaw and start to breathe. Okay, open mouth breath. Don't go through the nose. Just open mouth breath and reciprocate that air, because it's very powerful. And at first, your partner might be like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you breathing like that?"
Like
But
it's a
I
new kind
really,
of moan, babe. Don't
yeah,
worry about
it's a new
it.
kind of thing that I'm doing. Really, just and really invite you to try that, and also like you can even mirror that with some contractions of the yoni while you're doing the things, and that can be very, very beautiful. But again, pumping up that energy is also going to allow some of the stuff inside of the yoni to kind of get pumped up, and a circulation and blood flow to happen, which also increases our sensitivity and makes sex more delicious. And just, but breath needs to be there. It's a very important part. So important. Nice deep breathing. Okay, not you got to just like get it all out. Especially if you had a
Like
real
a
stressful day,
puja.
like nice and deep. Really, I love that you brought that out because it is very important to breathe.
Mhm, mhm.
Yes, 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 yes.
Since you said contractions, I want to go back to Kegels. So, for those who might not know, what is a Kegel and how do we know if we're doing it right?
Ooh, great question. I like that. So Kegels are exercises for specifically for your vagina.
Mhm.
How you know if you're doing them right. A lot of people are breathing in and they're squeezing when it's actually the very opposite. It's the opposite because how the pelvic floor functions, right? Especially from us sitting down a lot, we're creating a lot of tension when that happens. So what you want to do, instead of breathing in and squeezing, you actually want to be breathing out and squeezing. Because that's actually going to create the
Yeah.
muscle flexibility and tone that you need. So again, it's going to take a second to practice. Even sometimes I catch myself doing the squeeze and tight, but you want to be squeeze and then you know what I'm saying? You get it gets confusing, but literally once you start to get it, you'll start to correct yourself, and that's how you know like you're doing it correctly, right? At least in that sense. Now, if you really are wondering like where your pelvic floor is and how it's functioning, the best way to do it is get your fingers in there and
There you go.
squeeze on your finger and see like how long you can hold the squeeze without like it being uncomfortable. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you find it's really tough to kind of hold a squeeze, keep working on your Kegels, keep working on it. There's a couple of Kegel apps out there that can really help you kind of do like they do like a music and like all this really cool stuff and like tell you like it's like a flashing beat. I had one of those when I was pregnant, like it's like a flashing beat that really, really helps you kind of like stay on track, and it reminds you every day to do the things, but you want to be doing roughly like 20 a day, at least 20 a day. And not
Oh,
everybody is a candidate for Kegels. So if you experience like hypertension in the yoni, you don't want to be doing Kegels. You want to be doing more of like a yoni massage and to kind of loosen stuff up there to kind of like create that even flow because we don't want it too tight, high and tight buff yoni. We want nice and easy. It can mess up your orgasm if it's too tight, and if you mess up your orgasm if it's too loose. It's got to be just right.
That's right. I love that. All right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you really want to like talk about and share with the friends today?
Ooh, so many things.
So many things. Let's get it.
Right. So if there's any woman out there today, this has really been coming up a lot. So I think it's like something I need to say collectively. If there's any woman out there who's experiencing pain, or maybe they have a lot of anxiety around sex, or maybe they feel a lot of pressure around sex, I want you to know that you're not in a lone company. Okay. And I want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken, right? Because you don't just desire to like be swinging off the chandelier. Literally, it's okay. It's completely safe to feel what you are feeling. And I invite you to give yourself some more love and grace. Give yourself some more love and grace. Just try loving the hell out of yourself. Okay, the way the universe loves you, just keep loving yourself, and I promise you, those things will open up for you. But you got to start with self.
I love that. It comes full circle because we started with self, and now we're into yourself. Yes. Gotta love ourselves. We've got to connect.
Yes.
Big part of why I'm like gonna start Reiki training because we.
Oh, I know. I heard that. I'm so excited. Oh my God.
I'm so excited. You know. Healing self, healing others. It's so important. So we can all like have a higher level of consciousness and just go through life doing what we're called to do. I love it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that.
So what do you have going on? Like, how can people work with you right now?
Oh man. So I just launched some new stuff this week. That's so funny. So I have a de-armoring of the yoni, which basically is clearing the debris in the yoni associated with trauma or some things that may be unresolved. So I take you step by step in this class. It's a 3-hour class of really just breaking all of that stuff down inside of the yoni through yoni massage, filling out the hot spots, filling up the tension, filling up the numbing so that we can help you feel and have more graceful and more desirable sex. So I'm really excited about that. It's a de-armoring course. It's also on my site. Then I have a course that's launching. It's called Majestic Pussy.
Ooh, honey.
So excited. It's all about your pussy queendom, and it's going to start with spiritual rejuvenation of the yoni. It's thefiresociety.net. You're good. And so we're going to be going into sex magic and the things of desire that and the portals that are created inside of the vagina. But we really want to talk about like clearing the womb, setting the tone, setting the space so that you're not throwing seeds into unfertile ground, right? We want to be able to do the things, and then how to really step up and be present and own your power as a woman in your sexual power and be unapologetic about that. So that's one of my favorites. I'm really excited about it. And then we have the retreat that's going to be happening in May, and I'm really pumped about that because it's going to be a couples retreat, and I'm just excited because it's like something that's been really highly requested. But just to see the connection that you can create with the tantric experience is going to be just beautiful.
Awesome. So awesome. So aside from the firesociety.net, are there any other ways that people can connect with you?
I am on pretty much every platform. So from YouTube to Pinterest, I have a lot of meditations and stuff on Pinterest. I have meditations on my site too. You can go and just find a meditation that you resonate with. The Fire Tribe, of course, the Fire Tribe is here on Facebook. It's the community that you can come and be safe and open and ask questions. I have Instagram. I have YouTube. I have, let's see. Yeah, those are the places right now.
I love it.
The yoni signal in the sky. Just tell me where you are. I'll come find you.
I love it. So thank you all. Thank you so much, Porscha, for joining us this evening. Thank you all for joining in live. Thank you for those who are listening to replay. We go live every single Thursday except for holidays. So no Thanksgiving live.
No wine on Thanksgiving.
Oh, there is going to be plenty of wine on Thanksgiving.
Lots of wine.
It's just not going to be live. Maybe it will be live. We'll see how I feel. Feeling a little froggy. But definitely check the Wine Diva Tiara Facebook page for upcoming times and dates, because the times do shift around a little bit. But you can see what's coming up next. But yeah, so thank you all. If you want to check out our wine club or learn a little bit more about doing the wine biz, I will go ahead and drop in the chat my link tree so you can have access to all of that good stuff. So yeah, if you have any questions, drop them below. And of course, please connect with Porscha because she's amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have an amazing rest of your evening, day, whenever you are watching or listening to this. Cheers.
Bye. Do you still